106 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2016. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog. Good evening. I am your host, James Riley. Joining me on the podcast tonight, Carrie Dixon, the loather of the Lottery.
Hey, everybody.
And our special guest, Gary Miereanu, the peerless promoter of potentially all portions of pop culture.
I like it.
AKA Super PR Guy. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, so we're going to get into virtually. We're going to get into the big hotel sale in just a little bit, but first, Gary, we'd love to talk to you about what it takes to put together and run a panel at Comic-Con. Carrie, why don't you start us off?
So, first of all, I know we were kind of talking about this before the show, but Gary, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
I am a publicist, kind of a hybrid of a publicist, because I get involved in a lot of different aspects of publicity surrounding anything I'm involved with, whether it's promoting a specific project or a company or a network or a TV series or whatever it involved. But I am they call me a specialist in the fanboy arena, so I guess that's why I'm here in the first place. I've got gnats flying around my computer, so that's why you see me wagging my hand.
That's right.
But yeah, and so I do anywhere from 9 to 14 panels at Comic-Con, and I had 9 over at WonderCon, and New York Comic-Con can be at times testy as well. So it's a lot of work and a lot of fun.
Well, how many years have you been doing this? How many years have you been going to Comic-Con and doing this?
No, I mean I've been at Warner Brothers for about 9 years. I was with the Dodgers before that for a little bit, and then before that I was with Disney. So I took about a year off when I was with the Dodgers. So I'm going to say I've been going since 99 or 2000, right around there, and pretty consecutively since then. With 1 year off where I got to go down and just be me with no work, and that was fascinating.
What was that like?
I'll tell you what. It was one of my. It was really fun because I had kind of access because I knew everybody, so I got to hang backstage with the King Kong gang before they went out and afterwards, and the Padres. I think that's the last time the Padres are playing that weekend in San Diego during Comic-Con. So I did have the honor of being in the first row, right by the on deck circle inside Petco Park. Where a couple of friends of mine were actually playing for the Diamondbacks and were taunting me from there. And then I left there and was as close to home plate as you could be. And Scott Gimple, your exec producer of Walking Dead, was a good friend of mine. We worked together at Disney, and he called and said, "Where are you?" "I'm at the top of the Hyatt, or whatever it is, across the street from Petco." So I went up there and watched from the rooftop for the 9th inning. So I went as far as possible as close as possible, as far as possible, to watch a ball game. It was a good time, and I didn't have to worry about anything that I normally do. I think it's the last time I had a real con. It was great.
It's a great feeling. It is. I've worked as a vendor and such, and then gone as a fan, and yeah, it's very freeing.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the one drawback of what I do is I don't get a real con. I mean, the good news is I save a boatload of money. Last year, my tech checks actually ended at $545, and I was on the back side of the hall, and I slipped inside a door and made the mistake of discovering Loot Crate and bought everything. So I spent a lot last year because I got off early, but yeah, I don't get a lot of time to buy. I always make it a point to see, Mr. Toast. I got to get over and see what he's got new, and and the guy who does the tick stuff, and a couple others that I'm dedicated to. You know, got to get to Cheeks Galloway's latest stuff, or folks like that. But yeah, other than that, I don't get the floor as much as I'd like to.
See, I love that. I love that. Like, you're obviously a huge fan of the stuff that's going on there. I mean, let's just look behind you.
Yeah, my buddy Flash.
Okay, so since your job is basically panels, walk us through the process of putting one together. You have some that are there every year, like Toonstock, but you also have special ones like the Kiss Scooby-Doo panel or the Robbie the Robot's retirement party, which I was actually at this year.
That was a good time, Joe Dante. I'll tell you,
that was very cool.
That was really fun. We were still working on it on the Wednesday before WonderCon, and we wanted to do we found a great clip from Joe Dante on Trailers from Hell where he was talking about Robbie. And I sent a note over to Joe and just said, "Hey Joe, do we have your permission to use this?" And just for the sake of it, I put P.S. You know, if you'd like to join us. And he wrote back and said, "Hey, what time?" So
that's cool.
Joe Dante, for God's sakes! I love Joe. He's just one of the best. Yeah. So I start on panels usually in October or November. And sometimes it's as early as September where we're talking about what's coming. And a lot of it is, the first stage is planning. It's trying to figure out what fits, both content-wise and timing-wise. You know, you don't want to put out, you're not going to have a panel for something that's already come out, or a panel that's something for too far in advance. And you want it to fit. I'm not walking in there trying to pitch a show that doesn't go with the Comic-Con crowd, or any content. I mean, it has to appeal to the fans. Is that a dog or a cat walking around in the background?
It's my dogs.
They're the co-stars of this show.
Just for a second there, I thought Carrie had a tail. So and then we move into formulating what that panel is. Whether it's every year we usually do for about 9 years running, we do a production on one night of the con that premieres a DC Universe animated film, original movie, and so we know that's kind of an anchor to what we're planning, and we work around that for all other panels. If it's a specialty panel like a Scooby-Doo meets Kiss or a Batman 1966 coming out on Blu-ray, we anchor that up for where it fits best, whether it's Thursday or Sunday or Saturday, whatever's going to work, and you work with the con people to make that work out. Then there's talent recruitment, who's going to fit, who's within the production and who fits well on the panel, who will add to what we want to communicate and how. I mean, it can be, and with panels like Toonstock, we're just having fun, It's just a good time to blow that out. We've had the good fortune to have a lot of fun with it. Then once you get through talent recruitment and you know who wants to come, then there's the trick of getting them there. So there's travel coordination, making sure you've got rooms or cars or flights or whatever. Then you start getting into the nitty-gritty, actually scripting out the panel, how it wants to play, what's the run of show. You've got to order posters or standees. There's for show and for signings at booths or upstairs in the sales pavilion or whatever. It's making sure your tapes are produced for what you're actually going to show, and that can be a long, drawn-out period, whether it's either, for a Friday night DCU production, it's pretty easy. You ask the fine people at Warner Brothers Animation to produce a tape to the specs that work with Ballroom 20. If it's something more technical, like a montage, we might be sitting and editing that for a week or two on our own, just making it all blow and blow well. It's figuring out what to show. It's figuring out what promotion items to bring. It's pretty crazed what it goes into it. And remember, I'm never doing just one panel.
Yeah.
We're all
9 at WonderCon.
Yeah, we're all pitching right now and pitching to Comic-Con to try and ensure that we have what we want. And if it works out, I might be pushing 10 or 11. We'll see. But there's a lot of good content coming. I know that. That's the fun of it. that is one of the great parts, though. And then once you get there, then the whole, there's a lot of work. If I go less than 20 hours a day once we get to Comic-Con, I'm dumbfounded. But it's fun. Jason Spizak from Young Justice and I were talking last week, and we were trying to figure out why we were so tired, even though we'd had so much fun. And we thought, it's not hard work. And Jason said, it's hard fun. And I actually have that on my wall up here in my office here. It says hard fun, Jason Spizak. So that's what we do. We have hard fun. And getting there is just, once you get there, it's the greatest, because you're on a train that has left the station, and nothing can stop that train from where it's going. So good or bad, and we always strive for good, you're going to go. And so you're past all the stuff behind you that's gone into planning, and now it's just, let's execute and make it great. And that's fun.
Well, obviously you've put together a ton of panels over the years, but what do you think was your favorite? What do you think was the best panel you guys ever did? Ooh.
I do love the Friday night DCUs. Those are great. And I love my cast that we get to work with and all of that. Bringing Adam West to Comic-Con for a Hall H panel for the Batman series going on Blu-ray and DVD for the first time, that was extra special. I mean, I've been working with Adam for the last couple of years, and that's been fantastic. But bringing him there was very cool. If for no other reason, I'm one of those kids that, I was 4 or 5 years old when that series came out, and there was nothing greater. My mother will show you Mother's Day cards from when I was 5 and 6 years old, where it's, I love you, Happy Mother's Day, but there's bats drawn all over it, and I swear to you, when we I'm going to take this way too long, but when we did the every time they'd remaster an episode, they'd hand it to me to review and pull clips and figure out what I wanted to use for promotion. And they handed me the first Mr. Freeze clip, the first Mr. Freeze episode, George Sanderson. And I took it and I put it in, and I started tearing up. I don't have that many memories of being really young, but on my 5th birthday, that show premiered, that episode, and I can remember my parents say, "Come on, we're going to have birthday." And I'm like, no, we got to go to Brad's house to watch Batman, because we didn't have a color TV. Brad had a color TV 2 doors down, so if I was good, I got to go. And damn it, I wanted to go watch Batman. And Mr. Freeze was that episode. So it was great bringing Adam, and the reaction, and everybody just, the editor of TV Guide wanted a picture with him. It was, and he's the greatest. He's just unimaginable. So that might be that's one of my all-time favorites. And honestly, Toonstock from last year was great, because it was a last-minute edition where Robert Kirkman had canceled because of his surgery.
Yeah, I remember this now. Yeah.
And we had to sub in. We got asked if we could sub in at the last minute. We said sure, we could throw that together really quick. We already had it. It was a sing-along. And we came in, and there were, Kirkman had tweeted out and put out a press release. We'd put out a press release. The con itself and put out a release. On the sign that said we were doing Toonstock, not Kirkman on the schedule. And we walked in, and it was 1,000 people, and they were wall to wall, and they were buzzing. And I stepped up to the microphone, and just for fun, I said, "Good evening, I'm Robert Kirkman," and they all laughed, and I thought, we got him. And then I started explaining about Toonstock, and they all dead. And I thought we're about. I looked at my buddy, my partner Matt, and said,
"Oh, we love Matt."
Matt Patterson. I was like, Matt, we're going to watch 900 people walk out the door, and then I started explaining it to them, and they got into it, and I swear it was the most lively, impactful, great room I've ever been in. They ate it up, and we just had a grand time. So they sang at the top of their lungs and stayed with us the whole time, and at the end they still wanted Robert Kirkman, but they were happy they played with us. So
I've been to a couple Toonstocks. I love those. You guys put on a really good show.
We love it. Sarah, I should throw a shout out to Sarah Balush, who is the one who actually put the words on the music of the Mayhem of the Music Meister episode, changing colors by syllable, and just great stuff.
That sounds like a lot of work.
What else can I tell you?
Well, you mentioned the WB movies that you bring every year, and I think you mentioned that it's been going for quite a few years now. Were you around when they first started bringing them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was the first time I did a panel was for WonderCon 2007 when we back when it used to be in San Francisco in February, right. And we did a panel with Bruce Timm and Dan DiDio and Greg Novak, and we did a panel basically announcing what we were going to bring and showing the very first footage of Superman Doomsday. And we showed it that year at Comic-Con 2007. And honest to God, I mean, that's 9 years and 27 movies ago. And
I still have that black armband that
at
Comic-Con.
Add up, baby. All the great goodies we've produced over the years. But that's a really fun story. That might be my all-time favorite panel, too. I got a lot of them, but that one was great in that we were sitting around trying to figure out what to do to promote the film. We knew it was going to come out in September. I suggested we bring it to Comic-Con and actually show the movie. Nobody really shows a whole movie at Comic-Con very often. And they said, great. And I talked to Comic-Con, and we discussed it a little, and they said, we want to show it in Ballroom 20. And I was like, how many people are in Ballroom 20? And they said 4,250. And I was like, and we said, okay, if Comic-Con thinks it's good enough for that, we can get 4,000 people. We'll be great. And we were unnervous, noticeably. I mean, it was our first time, and why not? You know, we knew we had something good, and we knew we had something the fans would like. But you just don't know who's going to show up at 7 o'clock on a Friday night for that kind of thing. So we set in motion, and then Comic-Con called us about a couple weeks later and said, hey, we think there's going to be enough interest that we want to show it a second time afterwards at 10. And we were like, are you crazy? But okay, we'll do it. And we set it in motion. We kind of forgot about all that. And the night of the show, we did media, and Ballroom 20 is here, and way at the back here was where our media room was. So we had to walk past the sales pavilion, walk past Ballroom 20 over to here, and Bruce, Timm, and I were heading back to the media room. And as we're walking, we saw people lined up along the wall, along the glass wall by the water.
Yeah.
And we thought, okay, it goes forever. It looks like it could be 1,000 people. This will be great. And we even popped over and said, what are you waiting for? And they said, oh, Mr. Timm, we're seeing Superman Doomsday. And so Bruce and I walked onto the media room. We were like, okay, all right, it won't be empty. This is going to be great. And I put Bruce in the media room. We started the media. And then I had to run over, and I thought we were going to get another chance to check the tape before we started. And I came into the Ballroom 20 at about 6:30, and we were starting at 7, and I came in, and the room was full. And it was just as it had been when we passed it, half an hour earlier. And the room was full, and I thought, are they going to show something before we start? And I looked at somebody and said, what are you waiting for? And he said, Superman Doomsday. We got online at 8 this morning. And I was like, oh, my God. The people outside have been waiting just as long to see the 10 o'clock show. And I came back and told those guys they were psyched out of their minds. And then we showed the thing. And the people on the tech level where they were sitting running the film, the tape, and queuing up sound and everything, they were starting to worry because the fans were reacting to every impact, to everything like they were going to pull up the upholstery and burn the place down. They loved it. And they were literally, the guy running the room was kind of freaking out about it. Like, what are they going to do next? So it was a good time. Highly successful.
Like, right out of the bat, like, you guys had enough interest that even Comic-Con was like, we think we should do 2 showings.
Yeah, and it worked out great. So, and it has for 9 years now. So we have a good time with it. And,
was that first one that helped the decision to come back every year, or is it just something that you feel? I mean, what was in the decision process of making sure you're there every year now?
I don't think we've ever thought that hard about it. I mean, it was such a success. And I am a traditionalist and a creature of habit, so it was kind of like let's keep doing it because it's working, and it works every year.
So,
they fill that ballroom every year, and they go crazy for those things. It's wonderful.
So is it basically, if you're going to run 10 panels a year, it's nice to have 3 or 4 in the bank that you know you don't really have to plan?
Oh, there's no lack of planning. There is no.
If you already know how to title it?
It is, even with like tune stock. It's tune stock is the one thing we have in the bag that we know we can go to and do well, and the boys don't have to do much to prep it, and we've already got the back 25 minutes filled, so we can go through and have fun with it and not take a lot to create it. But everything else takes time. Even any one of the ones that we've done on Friday night requires, a full consciousness of what you're going to ask of those panelists. So that's just what's happening right there on stage. What goes into it beforehand is making sure every one of those people gets in a car and gets to the con or is flown in or however we're traveling them. It's making sure they get to the places we have to. Every one of my panels, or almost every one of my panels, doesn't just have what happens on stage. It has a media interview session for an hour at some point, or an hour and a half at some point during the day. We usually have a signing at the WB booth or the DC booth. Frequently, if it's a high-profile panel, we are spending about 6 hours of the day running from EW to Movie Pilot to TV Guide to IGN to all of the activations that those people have at the Hard Rock or the Omni or their yacht, CBR. All of those folks have places, Yahoo, MTV. We've got to go to all those spots, do media interviews, because that's what we're really there for, to get the word out. And that's a full day activity, and it takes months to coordinate and set up. Just getting and sorting the 400 badges for everybody is a full day activity, not to mention the hours of input. So it's a good time.
Okay,
I'll tell you this.
So
what makes it easier is the people at Comic-Con, the people of Comic-Con really are wonderful to work with, and the greatest part of the whole thing is the fans, because the fans eat it up. Their reaction, the interaction with the talent and the fans, the way the fans react within a panel when they're asking questions. Some of the favorite panels are to do the Scooby-Doo or Lego panels where we pick on the kids to ask us the questions, and those are phenomenal and highly technical, by the way. So and then I truly love that at Comic-Con, I got into this business about 20 years ago. There was a time when nobody knew who John DiMaggio was. Nobody knew who a Jim Krieg was. And now the fans just eat up the people who were anonymous before, but are so talented and get to do so much for them, and the fans respond to it. That's a wonderful thing to have. That's a true celebration. Makes me feel good at the end of the day knowing I got to help.
Right. That's awesome. So, with all of these panels that you do, have you ever had one that veered wildly off course, for better or worse?
Oh yeah. There's video of these things. Okay, on a personal front, I've had some physical maladies at times that hit at the wrong time, like a kidney stone attack in the middle of a panel. Yeah, there's a video out there where you'll actually see me digging my elbow into my side trying to maintain. Wow. I had gout during a panel one time, or during a weekend one time, and I was virtually crippled. So those are entertaining.
That's the word I'd use.
Yeah, it's a little different form of entertainment. We had a panel a couple of years ago. We did a series of shorts. There's video on this too. We did a series of shorts that you guys might remember them. It was the Spectre and Jonah Hex and Superman, Shazam, Black Adam, and they were great. And we did a panel to present Superman, Shazam, I think. No, Jonah Hex we were going to show. And we had a panel that Jerry O'Connell did a stop-in for me. We had Bruce Timm, Alan Burnett, Greg Weisman, Joe Lansdale, was one more on that panel. I can't remember, and I'm sorry. Apologize to him. And Thomas Jane, who is a wonderful individual to work with, but sometimes he goes where you can't control him. And I like to keep things in a cadence, and he took it so far off the rails. He threw French fries to the crowd, or he went into the crowd at one point to mock chase somebody and things, and I just could not control it in any way, shape, or form. And to his credit, Tommy loved every minute of it and told me as much later, and he was truly entertaining to the point where I had several people run up to me afterwards and say, best panel ever. But I felt like I lost years on my life that day. It was Bruce Timm was having the time of his life watching it all happen, and it went so far off the rails. But it was entertaining. We got to show the short, and Tommy wowed us with some fantastic tales. So it worked out. Even when it's bad, it's pretty good.
I do believe that, and for everybody watching, you guys should all check out some of Warner Brothers Home Entertainment Warner Archive panels this year. They're always a whole lot of fun.
Be there.
Yes, but before we let you go, I mean, what's coming up next for you on your slate? Like, I think the Justice League versus Teen Titans DVD comes out in a couple days, right?
Next Tuesday, Justice League versus Teen Titans Blu-ray. Where's my box? I swear I have copies of it here, but I can't show you right now. Justice League vs. Teen Titans Blu-ray comes out next Tuesday. You can get it on digital HD right now. There's some pirated videos that are out there right now of a certain movie that we have reportedly are going to show at Comic-Con. You might have heard of it. It's about a joke. Might not be that funny. Yeah. Kid named Hamill's in it. We're bringing back the guns, so that baby's coming later on in the year. I think we just announced Scooby-Doo WWE, our second round with the professional wrestlers, which are a blast. If you saw the first one, you know what kind of tomfooleries we can play with, and yeah, there's some greatness out there. Truly great. I'm looking up on my board seeing what I can talk about and what I can't, but there's a lot of good.
So I think it's safe to say it's going to be a fun year at Comic-Con?
I think this is going to be a great Comic-Con. I'm one of the problems of planning so far in advance is you start living it in your head way out in advance. So like before we got to WonderCon, I'd already done WonderCon, so I was already on. But yeah, I think this is going to be a terrific year. I know there's a lot of good content coming, not just from us, but from everybody, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody down in San Diego and every night decompressing with some Ghirardelli ice cream. So
yeah.
Wow.
The easiest way to find me. And thanks for letting me know it was 106 days. That's great.
That's what we're here for, Gary.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure
at all. None. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, Gary.
You guys have fun talking hotels. Nobody is staying in my room except me.
Before you go, where can our readers and listeners find you on the internet?
Ooh, I'm easy to find it at Super PR Guy. That's the easiest way to find me. And I'm there all the time. I put up pictures. I put up images. Flash, you name it. I've got them all around here.
You were just tweeting up about Justice League Teen Titans earlier today.
You know what? It's a good movie. I got to admit, I really enjoy this. I love all our films. I don't see any of our films less than 30 times, and yet HBO Family has this rotation going on. So, like 2 nights ago, I'm watching Batman Year One. Not like I haven't seen it, but I'm still watching. Yeah, you just Wonder Woman, you name it, they're all on, and I can't help myself. So it's like watching your children.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you again very much, Gary. And again, everybody go see Warner Archive and WB Home Entertainment this year at Comic-Con. And Gary.
We'll be there. Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, always thinking of you.
Nice plug. All right.
You guys have fun. I'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye, Gary.
How do I get out of here?
You can just close the window.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, well, let's get right on into the news. We'll get to hotels literally in just a moment. First, we wanted to remind everybody that the ACE parking lottery is still going on. There's details on our website, and I'll put them in the show notes as well, but basically you have to email them between now and April 24th, and then they'll randomize it, because that's what we do at Comic-Con. And then they'll let you know, and I believe the first parking sale takes place on May 1st, but it's in batches. So that's coming up.
Okay, and also Comic-Con HQ is launching May 7th with free access through July 25th. You can sign up on their website.
And Dark Horse, for everybody who did not get a badge or who knows somebody who didn't get a badge, Dark Horse, to celebrate their 30th anniversary, they are holding a contest right now where they want to send you and a friend to Comic-Con. It's actually, I think,
it's a pretty sweet package.
It's a lot cooler than the normal contest, I think, honestly, because not only do you get a badge and a hotel and all that, but you also get VIP access to their booth. You
get every autograph session that you want.
Yeah, like who doesn't want that at Dark Horse? So,
especially since they bring people like Joss Whedon there randomly almost every other year, it seems.
Yep. And unfortunately, that is only open to U.S. attendees. So sorry, international people. There will eventually be stuff for you. There's always at least one or two.
Yeah.
Beyond that, really, there's not a whole lot else being announced at this time beyond the hotel sales, but a lot of companies are finalizing plans. We've been talking to a lot of big companies, and we're pretty sure we should start seeing a lot more reveals here in just a couple weeks.
Yep.
So, shall we talk about what everybody is here for?
Okay, so if you have questions while we're going here, go ahead and post them on the Q&A in the Google Hangout or on YouTube. I don't even know where it is. I'm on this side of it, so I never see where it is. But first off, okay, Carrie, how did it go?
It went pretty well, actually, is what I'm going to say. I mean, when you compare to last year when there were a ton of issues, this year there was not a bad form in sight. I didn't see very many technical issues. I saw a couple people who had some glitchy things with the practice form.
There was the only thing I heard was some people got kicked out of the waiting room or the line after they were in the line. After they got a number, they got kicked out for some reason.
Yeah, I think I did hear that on one or two, but it was
very seldom.
Yeah, it was really small. I mean, when you compare it to last year, at least they fixed those issues, and that's pretty much why they made it a lottery, is to solve the giant issues that we had last year. However, let's talk a little bit about communication. So when CCI announced the information last week, they were pretty vague in how exactly it would work, at least when you compare it to something like a badge sale where we get like multiple FAQs and videos and all that kind of jazz. This time they reposted the same information 3 times and offered no further clarification.
Right. And there was no information on Peak's site either, correct?
No, on Peak, no, it didn't really announce much of anything before the sale. So we talked to On Peak last week because we had some questions about how exactly the randomization was going to happen. When we talked to them last week and this morning, we spoke to multiple people over there, and they all told us the exact same thing, which was basically that the waiting room was going to be randomized, but that's about the only thing that was new this year, and the form was going to work just like it always had, that they were going to go by submission time for when you submit the form, and then they'd randomize within 3 seconds of that. Like, I mean, we talked to multiple people who seemed like they knew what they were talking about, but doesn't seem like they actually did. You want to talk about that, James?
Well, we had that was, the initial thing we thought. And then today, when people filled out their form and got to the success page, at the very top, it said, "Thank you, your successful submission, and we will now randomly sort you for the hotel selection." So we're like, so we're getting randomly sorted again. And
to be fair, the second people started asking about that, I was instantly like, it's poor wording.
Yeah.
Is all that it is. It's poor wording, because I really was. Like, the second somebody asked, I was like, no, that's not what they mean.
But the fact that they put it on there,
I know.
Bad communication.
I know, and I know what they mean.
The theme of the sale is bad communication.
I know.
They fixed the technical side. Now let's move on to the next.
So many people were so confused because everybody all of a sudden was like, are we being double randomized? Are they randomizing the time we get into the waiting room and then randomizing our submissions? Why would we do that? So that was really not clear.
Then On Peak tweeted clarifications. It was 3 or 4 tweets that clarified that it was
not double randomizing.
Not double randomized, that your initial entry was what they were picking, and then also that people who called in would be randomly sorted in somehow, but they didn't clarify that. They just said they would be randomly put in with the other people, which that is still a mystery how they're doing that. But then they had to re-clarify with another tweet a couple hours later that it was the time you got entered into the room, not the time you hit submit, that was your timestamp. So you could actually take a few minutes to get your form done and not have to rush, because it was when you entered that they took the timestamp.
Why did they not say this beforehand? Okay, and I just don't understand it. I get that it's a vendor, but look, if for badge sales, we can specifically state, like, from the time you get to the form, you will have 15 minutes to fill this out. Why is there no wording about that on hotels? Why is hotels so different from badges that, like, we just absolutely cannot explain anything about the process? They have explained things about the process in the past. They used to explain that, like, 3-second randomization thing.
Right.
I don't like it.
No. That there needs to be clearer communication before, unless because someone tweeted us and said that when they spoke with a rep at On Peak, that they got a third version of the story, that they would be randomly pulling by hotel. So they would pick a hotel, and then they would randomly pick, if there was 108 rooms, they would pick 108 forms for the people who had that as their first pick and fill them up. And so we got multiple stories of how they were handling things. There is no communication and set plan before it happens that is communicated anywhere. And it seems like even to their reps.
I know. And the thing is, we said this last year too. Although it sucks that the customer service people are not giving the same answer, and this happened last year too, it's also not their fault, because what that really means is that higher up people are not fully explaining the process to them. Like, that would be like getting mad at an AT&T customer service person for, like, I don't even know, your TV being broken. Like, it just doesn't necessarily make sense to blame them. If Comic-Con International, quite honestly, had just explained the process from the get-go, just about all the stress today that could have been avoided. There's always going to be stress, because especially this year with the randomization, we have no idea anymore what a good time is. We have no idea what hotels we're going to get, all that.
Right. And the fact that they fixed the technical issues means if they had communicated, there is, I mean, with the exception of people who, most of us who don't like the randomization, there really was nothing to complain about, because there really were no technical issues. And if we had known the process in advance, where as soon as we get into the room, timestamp, we have time, we could have planned how we did that. We didn't have to stress and be so anxious about how fast do I have to do this? What does it mean if I get into the room in under a minute, but I don't finish for 2 minutes, or 3 minutes? What does all of this mean? We could have planned, and they could have. And the thing is and this is my biggest gripe is, it's most often the reason that they give for doing things is because they want to take care of their attendees. And the whole RFID thing is so that badge holders are the only ones who can get into Comic-Con, not people who cheat the system. They do all of these things for the attendees, and in this case, this is not about the attendees. They are not taking care of them by removing these levels of stress that they're giving them because they don't explain things in advance.
No, and it worries me considerably. I mean, Travis, he's watching right now, I know. So Sunday, over the weekend, they started sending out the hotel emails just to let people know, like, hey, the badge sale is Tuesday, here's the link, all that jazz. From the looks of things, at least 50% of people did not receive that link. Like, huge chunks.
It was a lot of people.
Did not get it. It was not an isolated incident. It was like thousands of people.
We asked just like 10 people that we know, and at least half of them didn't get it.
I would say more than that, but yeah, like huge amounts. Okay, so Monday morning, Travis told us that he called Comic-Con International and was basically told that all the emails had been sent. There was no problem. Please provide confirmation that you have a badge because we don't show record that you have one. Is that not terrifying? Like, that terrifies me. That even they would have, look, we had probably 300 people ask us about this. If we had that many, how many people do you think contacted Comic-Con International? And Monday morning, they were still saying there's no problem, at least for a couple of hours.
And
that's an issue.
To clarify, they were saying this only to people who contacted them directly. There was no public release of information about this problem, which apparently they didn't think was a problem to some of the people who called.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Travis's tweet freaked me out. I called Comic-Con International, and the press department basically told me, we'll have to look into that. Okay, you do that. Good Lord.
So this is our main issue. I mean, okay, you fix the technical side, great. We have another lottery, great, whatever. But now we're on to what is a persistent problem year after year, and that is the lack of communication from Comic-Con. I mean, Monday morning, instead of once they knew there was a problem, which is after Carrie called, apparently things started to happen because later that day they re-emailed everybody. But in between then, the only thing that they released was this week's list of special guests. There was no communication on the issue.
I mean, it's better than last year's How to Draw a Bee.
Right. True. I mean,
Progress.
It was, but it's the same situation. There's no public acknowledgement of when there's a problem, and it's like you don't have to come out and say, this is what happened. This some email server messed up and we had everything stuck and we didn't get them all sent, so we just resent them all to help the problem. No, it's just a simple message on the website or a tweet that says we are aware of the email problem and we're trying to find a solution. Just put that out there so that all of your attendees that you care about don't freak out for 24 to 48 hours because you're causing a lot of problems.
Well, yeah, like Travis even just said in the Q&A that, like, telling him, hey, we don't have your badge scared the mess out of him. Like, of course it did.
Yeah, especially the part where on the phone where it's like, can you confirm you're actually a badge holder? It's like, that's got to freak you out like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
That's heart-stopping. And you don't need to be treating your attendees that way. And Grant, look, this is Comic-Con. It's a fun time. It's a show we go to. It's the thing we do for entertainment. But if you're going to claim that your job is to provide the best you can for your attendees, that doesn't mean it stops at the show you provide. It means you also provide for them in how they get there, the vendors you hire to run your hotel and parking, and ticket registration, you are responsible for them, even if you're hiring an outside vendor.
And look, I get it. Like, you can't control everything about outside vendors. Like, it's pretty obvious, quite frankly, that they don't much care for Ace parking, considering that when they released that information, they literally said, this is a courtesy for attendees that we are providing you with this information. That's not something you say. That's so passive aggressive.
So,
but yeah, but like, even if they can't control everything about on-peak, like, it's still, quite frankly, their job to communicate this. But I think we have probably railed pretty hard against them. So let's talk about Michael Pena's question. What is the highest number so far that made it in?
That made it in? No clue. Do we know?
We don't know. I did, though, tweet earlier asking people for what number they made it, like what was the highest number they saw right when it changed over to 9. I saw a lot of like 17,000, some 18,000s. One person tweeted us that they were 120,000. I asked like 5 times, is that a typo? She says it's not. But that feels so high. Like, yes. How do we go from like 18,000 to 120? Okay. Like, how is there no middle ground?
Let's discuss. Let's do the math, because math is hard.
Math is hard, James.
So we figured out, based on the ID code at the bottom of the page when you logged in the waiting room, that you could not have multiple tabs on a browser.
Yeah.
But you could have multiple browsers. So if you use the 3 most common browsers, or 4, then you had a chance to have 3 or 4 sessions going.
Yeah.
Which, if every single person did that, and it went up to 120,000, that means you still only have 30 to 40,000 people trying.
Yeah.
Now, if you have 30 to 40,000 people trying, most of those people are going to be rooming with someone. Let's say it's only 2 people in a room. That means you now have 15 to 20,000. You also have people trying because there was no tied to member ID. You had as many people as possible could be trying. So let's just say it's 15,000 people trying. There's probably a good 10,000 rooms available. Roughly, I think. It may be more, it may be less. It depends on how many they sold in early bird. It depends on how many they keep for exhibitors and all that kind of stuff. So
I think
people are going to get rooms. It's the thing is that not everybody, most people want downtown. There's only a few thousand rooms downtown, and there's only, not that many that are in those big 4.
Yeah.
So those 15,000 people, 10,000 of them may be trying to get 1,500 rooms. Yeah. That's why it gets out quick.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter that, what number you were. There's so many gaps in between of people that are, once they get their thing, they're going away.
I do think it will. I mean, it obviously will matter a little, but the problem right now is we don't know what a good number is. We don't know what a good time is, because we don't know how fast or how slow they let people into the forum. So basically, in years past, downtown hotel rooms would sell out in under a minute, of like just when you would click to refresh the form, and then it was a free-for-all. And then go ahead.
I think they were letting hundreds in every 3 seconds.
I think so too. And then usually all hotels would sell out in probably like 5 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously they were letting people in today through quite a bit longer than that. I don't think that if you weren't into the form in the first 30 seconds today, you should just assume you didn't get a downtown hotel. I don't think that, because I do think it slowed things down. The question is just how much, and we're really not going to know that this year until Friday when we see hotel confirmations, and we can kind of loosely compare.
Right. And the thing is it will only be able to compare to people who actually noticed what number they were when they got in immediately. And because I didn't even notice. I actually was lucky enough to have it pop in and show me as going within, I think it was under a minute. I don't even know. I was in that heightened state of, adrenaline anxiety going on there. So I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So it was. This is basically we're going to have to basically crowdsource as much data as we can to figure out just what happened.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. And as Travis said, but thanks to Friends of Comic-Con who set up that trade forum. Yes, we're very grateful to Friends of CCI who every year they have an awesome hotel trade forum. This year it's a little bit different because it's mostly only open to active members, but I'm sure that they'll open it up to anyone if they have remaining inventory. But if you are over on Friends of CCI, that is an awesome resource. Awesome. Yeah. We've used that before in the past.
And let's reiterate again that non-downtown hotels open up every year. There are some left when they open back up again. And in fact, yes. I've checked randomly leading up to the con within a week or two, and there are still Mission Valley hotels available. So you can get a room.
Yes.
That is not a problem. There are rooms available. The problem is you will not be staying downtown more often than not if you don't get one in this sale.
And basically what's going to happen is, quite honestly, a lot of people will receive that email that says we weren't able to book you into any hotel, but there will be cancellations because just like James was saying, basically everyone and their roommate filled out a form today. So a lot of those will be going away. There's always cancellations. Comic-Con International even said there's always cancellations. So do check back. We'll be posting about cancellations. Also, people do actually make it in off the wait list. Mm-hmm. Some people even make it off the wait list to get a downtown hotel. It does happen. So don't...
It seems insane, but yes, it happens.
It does. So don't stress too much.
Get a room. If you get locked out completely in this initial sale, just check after they go back on sale. There will be rooms available. Just grab the best one that you can. Yeah. Because the problem, of course, is that it's fully refundable only until the end of April. April 30th is the last day. So that's where there's a slight issue. So yeah, just you'll get one.
Yeah. And then real quick, I wanted to point out, Jonathan said, he tweeted us, he was 17,584 right when the form loaded, but he filled out the form and time-wise it had to be about 15 minutes later after the waiting room had started. So if they let in like 17,000 people in 15 minutes, that's
1,000 people a minute, basically.
Yeah.
Break that down, that's, I can't do the math right now, but that's a little over, what is that, 320, is that 100 people every 3 seconds or something like that? I can't even do the math. 50 people every 3 seconds, I think, which is not very many.
No, it's not. 17.
So, yeah, if it's only 50 every 3 seconds, that seems a little low to me, but based on those numbers, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And the thing is of those 17,000, there's obviously people who didn't even try if they had 2 or 3 browsers going and they got in all under 17,000. I got two of my windows actually went through in like one right after the other in the first minute or I think, and I only filled out one of them. So I was a place in line that didn't actually fill out a form.
I think most people, I won't say most, I think a lot of people had multiple browsers open. But again, this would have all been nice information to have before the sale.
Right.
Like, people were asking us all week, like, can we have multiple browsers and multiple windows?
Shrug.
Because no one has said anything. We don't know. So obviously we found that out today basically through trial and error, but it would all be wonderful information to have ahead of time.
The absence of certain information informed what we thought would happen, but there was no actual information.
So we're not bitter or anything.
And let me reiterate, there were no technical issues to speak of.
Which is great.
It went smoothly.
Yes.
There was no failing forms. People got in. There was no website crashes. Good job.
Scott Douglas asked us, have you talked about the live hotel pull down? Any thoughts on if your hotels were still on the list that your chances of getting those are pretty good? I would say no, based on, I would say there's really no correlation.
There's no way to tell. I think they basically had like a number way higher than what could actually fit for the randomization, because it was, the 3-second randomization. So they couldn't necessarily tell. So they probably had hundreds of numbers above how many rooms total in all the downtown hotels, and just as the names, they probably filled the database as fast, as they came through. And as soon as they hit a certain number, they put the downtown hotels sold out. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they actually had an exact count of rooms that were being picked.
Well, and they've done this in previous years too. Like, I know in previous years they've blocked out the downtown hotels after like 30 minutes to an hour. But obviously, usually by that time, like there's actually nothing left.
Right.
But it's just all going to depend. There, like he said, there's really no way to know, quite frankly, until Friday. Alyssa pointed out something really cool. She said, there's a way to find your time via the cache in the browsers. And she gave a link, which we will put in the show notes. And I might tweet it out after once I get a chance to look at it. But that's really cool. That doesn't tell us much until we can compare. That's really cool.
That's cool that we'll be able to have a timestamp, though.
Yes, that will be awesome. So that's very cool. So thank you very much, Alyssa, and thank you for watching. Milton asked, when do you anticipate hotel result emails going out? I forget every year how long it usually takes.
I think they start early Friday morning.
Well, aren't there 2 emails, though? Don't they send you one with a recap of what you selected, or am I crazy?
Oh, the first one? That's going to be sometime tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think so, too. But yeah, it's usually Friday when you get the actual confirmation email. And in the past, just as a reminder, they have always gone out in alphabetical order of the hotel you are assigned at. Okay? So what that means is, let's say you wound up at the Hilton Bayfront. Those people are going to get that email before people at the Omni. Let's say you wanted the Bayfront, but you wound up at, I don't even know.
San Diego Marriott, Gaslamp Marriott.
San Diego Marriott Gaslamp. You will not get your email until long after the Hilton Bayfront people get theirs. But we usually try to keep kind of a running tab on Twitter. So that kind of helps like, oh no, the hotel app.
It's already gone by. I'm sad.
AOL usually have issues getting those emails, though, FYI.
Didn't they mess with the order last year? I seem to recall them messing with something last year.
I don't think they did.
They didn't? Okay. Maybe it was just, the general mess with everything kind of thing. That last year's.
Let's not talk about last year. Is my answer. Anything else in the chat? Travis said, I didn't even know there was a count going. I heard the chime right away saying I was ready at 9. And that's an awesome sign. That means you probably got a very good hotel. Whereas me, who got in at like 9:04, 9:05, probably not getting that Omni room I wanted.
No.
But I could use the defensive CCI4 room.
And some of us did get in earlier, so who knows what we got, and we'll see how it goes. And this is what you do. You have your friends, you have your group, everybody puts in, and then you trade hotels, and then what you don't use between your group, you find other people, or like the Friends of CCI Forum, or you just let it go and let someone on the wait list get it. Yep. I've done that before in the past, too. I mean, I have, my wife is really fast with the typing, and she got the Bayfront last year. I got the whatever Residence Inn that was a mile away, and I let that one go, and someone probably picked it up.
I wanted to cover this real quick. Kim over in the Q&A said, I spoke with someone in sales at one of the hotels, and they told me there are a limited number of rooms at the con price, so I'm thinking more rooms will open up at a higher price. Yes, it's true that not every room at every hotel is booked up through the special con rate, but it can be a huge difference what the con rate and the market rate are. Like,
The Bayfront is the best example because the con rate's about 310, I think. 300 roughly.
Something like that. And
the non-con rate is usually around $1,000.
It's over, yeah. It's over, and that's a night. $1,000 a night.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, there will be rooms available.
If you're going to do this, look outside downtown because those are actually more reasonable than you would expect based on the downtown prices.
With one exception, and I've been telling people this all week. If you are staying at the hotel during a non-con night, so let's say you get in the Monday before, or you're staying until even Monday, so that's Sunday night, don't be afraid to look outside the system. Quite frankly, for the non-con nights, you can often get a much cheaper rate than the con rate.
Right.
So, if you're doing that though, don't try to like call the hotel and add on extra rooms because they're not going to get your information until about 2 weeks before the hotel or until the con. So it's much better, quite frankly, to book a separate reservation if you're doing that. But
after dealing with it last year as well, if you change the name on your reservation through travel planners because you got a room but you're giving it to your friend, you have to check with the hotel within 2 weeks of the con and make sure they have that name on there because I'd say it's a good chance it's not going to make it to them.
I've never had that issue.
It happened. I called 2 times and checked, and it's still on check-in was a problem.
I've never had that issue, but truthfully, I'm OCD and I call my hotel every year. Hey, do you guys have the information from travel planners yet? Can you look up my reservation just to make sure you have it? It's not a bad habit to get into.
Call the hotel when you know that they've gone, which is, like she said, is about 2 weeks before, and just check and make sure your reservation is there. If you're really worried about it, take the time to call.
It's good peace of mind because truthfully, I know people who they've gotten confirmation for travel planners. Now on peak, they've paid, they get to the hotel. Hotel has no record of them.
Which is scary.
It is scary. So call, verify, confirm. These are your friends. Travis said that the Bayfront is $7,000 from Monday to Monday. So yeah, if you can afford that, let us stay with you.
Because you could probably afford the drinks too.
Yep.
That's crazy though. It's a nice hotel, but it's not that nice.
No, it's really not. Do you guys have any more questions? I'm not seeing anything else. Howard said, I know I represent a small data set, but I had 3 devices and multiple browsers going. Last browser and website was first in. The rest followed in reverse order. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they really did randomize us. I don't think like there was any rhyme or reason to it. I think it was an actual randomization. Don't you?
Yeah, because I logged into to my home computer first thing at 6 a.m. and then I logged in on my work computer when I got to work like 2 hours later, and they were all different times.
Yeah.
So.
So I don't think there's like a way to reverse engineer that next year to be like, if I go in at this time, I'll be first. Yeah,
if they do it the same last time, that's gonna happen. Use your 3 or 4 browsers, and hopefully maybe log in at once an hour on each one, just to have a different time on them for some reason, and just hope and pray, because that's all it really is.
Yeah. So, anything else we need to talk about for hotels? Oh, I was just gonna say one more time. So hotel confirmations will go out no later than Friday. Typically, they wait until the very last day. So I think we will be getting the confirmations on Friday. When you get that email, you have 72 hours to make a 2-night deposit.
That's the full 2 nights, including all of the fees.
Yeah, taxes, fees, all that jazz. So for especially the downtown hotels, that's usually like a $500 to $800 deposit. Yeah. So figure that out. But that will be happening. And then, like we said, if you don't get a hotel, we'll also be sharing all the information that we have about how to find a room outside the system when anything opens up. There is life after the Hotelpocalypse.
It doesn't feel like it today.
No, but there is life. And then when you actually get to Comic-Con, please come join us on Wednesday night, preview night, at Enchantment Under the SDCC. We will be back at Henry's Pub on preview night. And we've already got some awesome sponsors lined up for you guys. Factory Entertainment is in. Viz is doing goodie bags again. I think we said that last week. Prize Mule's also going to be back, which that's not a sponsor, but that's just the thing we do where we give out goodies. We've been talking to a ton of companies, Mattel, Hasbro, Funko. We should have some more announcements here in the next couple weeks. So please come. Unlike last year, we're not doing tickets. It's free, but you're going to buy your own booze. Cool.
Also, hey! You can enter to win a Batman or Superman 3D Light Effects Deco Light. Info on our site, SDCCblog.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter. The link will be in the show notes.
There's a lot of other news on our site, which all about Comic-Con, which you can find a lot of that in our Under the Tents column.
All right. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Gary, super PR guy on Twitter. Thank you very much for coming on to the show. We'll hope you'll join us every week leading up to Comic-Con as we bring you news, opinions, and more special guests. Oh, it's you.
It's me. James, where can we find some more work of where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I think we're all yelled out from the hotel thing now. Like, we're just done. You can find me on the internet at Dan Regal pretty much everywhere, or you can check out photos that my wife and I take at peakshotphoto.com. All of the links to our social media are on that site. Carrie, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me at Carrie Dixon on Twitter, and if you found me on any other social media, back away. We are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We are also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you all for listening. Everybody, go shawarma! La 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 lottery.
I hate the hotel sale.